Okay, this is what we have so far. All right, a mean square is just a sum of squares divided by its degrees of freedom. So this mean square is going to be sum of squares between groups divided by degrees of freedom between groups. And this mean square for within groups is going to be sum of squares within groups divided by degrees of freedom within groups. Remember that the F ratio is a ratio of mean squares. It's the mean square between group divided by the mean square within group. So really we don't need this total anymore because we've already used it for what we needed it for, which was so that we don't have to compute something 3 times. We can just compute it 1 time and get the within group information by subtraction. So, but now we need to compute these mean squares. So the mean square between groups is the sum of squares between groups divided by the degrees of freedom between groups. So 16.67 divided by 2, I get 8.3. And the mean square within groups is the sum of squares within groups divided by degrees of freedom within groups. So 7.33 divided by 6, I get 7.33 divided by 6. I get 1.22. F is a ratio of mean squares, a ratio of variances. That's why it's called analysis of variance. It's we're analyzing variances. So F is the mean square between groups, that 8.3 divided by the mean square within groups, that 1.22. So we go 8.3 divided by 1.22, and F is equal to 8.3 divided by 1.22. F is equal to 6.80. Now we need to get the table of critical values for F so that we can look up what the critical value for F is. And remember that we're going to look it up. So here's 0, here's infinity, and somewhere over here with alpha 0.05 in the tail, somewhere over here is a critical value. And it's going to be a critical value that we look up on 2 degrees of freedom for between groups and 6 degrees of freedom for within groups. So 2 and 6. We need to pay attention to 2 and 6. And we're going to find that in the critical values of the F distribution. So now we need to go get your F table and bring it back to us so we can look it up.